Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Saturday. This is Devils After Dark, coming to you live from the Primetime Radio studios here in beautiful New Jersey and Scotty's affordable housing in Beverly Hills, California.
It's not really affordable, tell you the
It's
truth.
not even in the 90210 area either.
Oh, I'm 90211. I'm not even in the 90210.
Yeah, you're not exclusive in Beverly Hills.
No, not at all.
Yeah. Streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Let's Go Devils Network as the Devils fall in a shootout. What I call a skills gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, all right. You know, I'm starting to find that the shootouts are worse than ties. Remember a tie back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
It felt like a tie. It's like, oh, okay. You know, the game's tied after exciting 3-on-3 that usually gives me a heart attack, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, a skills competition to figure out who gets the extra point. Okay, but that's all I have to say about that, Scotty. But let's recap this game because there are a lot of good things about this game, and I'm handing it over to you.
All righty. Well, welcome, everyone. Yeah, glad to be back with you here on Saturday night. Devils After Dark action. Let's Go Devils Podcast Network with the king of the football calls over there, Sam Woo. Welcome to everybody on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch. Unfortunate OTL. Still get a point. Still climbing up the standings there because our non-best friends. What's up, Sam Woo?
Oh, wait a second. I'm stupid. I thought I got the OTL, but I didn't.
Nope, you didn't. You got the score. You got none of us did. I don't think any of us got it correct today. So, but we did climb up the standings a little bit because our non-best friends, the Rangers, exploded there, erupted in the third period against the old Carolina Hurricanes, picking up the victory on them. So we gained a point on the Canes. They got, what do they have, 76, and we have 73? I think that's what it is. Or is it 70? Oh, boy, I hit the, damn it, I hit the old
don't
wrong button on the app again.
Don't worry about it. Mrs. Wu, the statistician, will let me know. I'll have it in a second.
Oh, I got it right here. No, we have 73, and the Canes have 76. We both have 52 games played, and we both have 34 regulation wins. The Rags have one game. We have one game in hand. The Rags have played 53, and they only have 31. They are now 3 points behind us with 70 points after their victory today. So let's talk about it. Let's go over this recap here and, talk about this game on the road. The Road Warriors, where we've seen the Devils be so good over the course of this season so far. Okay today. Played well for a portion of the game, but not all of it, especially in the first period. Vitek Vanacek is back in goal. We talked about it on Game Day Live. I was filling in for our man, Vinny Parisi. Jesper Boquist back in the lineup. Alexander Holtz, healthy scratch. Kevin Ball back in there again, who had a better game. I saw him actually use his reach a couple times, which, sometimes you feel like, Kevin Ball, don't forget, you're 8 feet tall, dude. Stretch out and use that stick and poke the puck away. And it did seem like he's starting to get a little bit better with that. But Hughes and Smith both out. If you missed Game Day Live, they are traveling with the team, which is a real good sign that it's nothing too serious, because if not, they would have left them back in Jersey on this 4-game road trip. So first period was really kind of meh. That's my note here. M-E-H, meh, for the Devils in the first period. I think they went almost 8 minutes without a shot on goal. The Wild got one power play goal there at 5:52 of the first period. tip in for Eriksson Ek. That's his 20th of the year, but really wasn't too much happening there in the first period for the New Jersey Devils. Vitek Vanacek was playing well, much like we saw with the Kraken and Mackenzie Blackwood, playing lights out against them. Vanacek was really having to hold the team there in the first period. Jonas Siegenthaler ended up taking a hooking penalty right at the end of the. He actually took 2 penalties in this game right at the end of the period. So the Devils go into the second period on the PK. However, got to give props to our man Eric Halla, who ended up drawing a penalty himself while the Devils were on the PK to get into some 4-on-4 action. And then eventually the Devils got on the power play themselves. They didn't score. This wasn't a power play goal, but just after the Devils power play expired, a great play by Palat and Tatar. And, oh, man, I was hoping Tatar was going to get the Hattie tonight, just so we can say, Tuna's Hattie harpoons the wild. Sam Wu loves harpooning things. So I was hoping that we're going to get to use that Hattie harpoon, the little alliteration there. But there he is. See how excited he gets as soon as we say harpoon?
Yeah. You know what? Hopefully at American Whiskey on February 25th for the $500,000 party that I'll have a harpoon in my
We're going to harpoon $500,000. That's what's going to happen, Sam.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to harpoon $500,000 on February the 25th over there at American Whiskey. And we're really, really excited about that. That can be when the feat happens, maybe that can be one of the headlines, Sam Wu. But Tatar and Palat really made this first goal happen for the Devils. Tatar comes in there. It's, again, just after the power play expires for the boys. Tatar takes a shot, and it gets blocked by, I can't remember which Wild player blocked it, but it got blocked, but it was gathered up by Andre Palat. And he kind of does like this little circle over there below the face-off circle. And who does he pass it right back to? Tatar, who didn't really move from where he was because he was lined up in a great position there, practically in the slot, just to the left of the slot. And when he gets the puck back, boom, makes the blast happen right there for his 11th of the season. And what is something that we have talked about with this New Jersey team is that secondary scoring has been missing for such a long time, and Tomas Tatar is a big part of that secondary scoring, and he was on an over streak for quite some time, so it was nice to really see him get on the board. 2:45 of the second with the big monster slap shot. Tomas Tatar, his 11th, coming from Palat, his 7th assist. So Palat continues to start putting up the points now that he's back in the lineup, and Dougie Hamilton, Dougie keeps his streak going. That's his 37th assist on the season. We had a scrap right after that with Nathan Bastian and Hartman, who received an instigator penalty and a misconduct on that. I kind of thought that was a little bit of a weak instigator. There was a bunch of weak calls in this game and missed calls. Devils had 2 high stickings against them that did not get called. One on Dougie, and I think the other one was on Marino later in the game. So the refs, kind of weak. Like Carl from Aqua Teen, when he's talking about all the different strip clubs. You talking about Nipple Hut? No, I'm not talking about it. You mean Bootberg? Bootberg, kind of weak, So, ref calls today, kind of weak. But I will say this, something that we have been harping on, not harpooning, but harping on, is the defensive play. We all know about the offensive skills of Mr. Dougie Hamilton, but the defensive plays have been a little bit lacking from Dougie today. But I got to say, he made a nice D play to break up a pass. It was kind of a real quick 2-on-1 there in the zone, and Kaprizov was wide open on the opposite side, and Dougie went and broke up the pass. I think that was, no, it couldn't have been coming from Hartman, so he was already in the bottom. Maybe it was Zuccarello who was making the pass over there to Kaprizov, and that's not a guy you want to leave open. That's a sniper over there for the Minnesota Wild. So Dougie getting back and making a really nice defensive play to break that up. And then earlier, I don't know if you were checking it out or not, but on Game Day Live, I was questioning why Jesper Boquist was moving back into the lineup, thinking, hey, maybe Alexander Holtz, if he gets some continuous play, maybe we can see some improvement for him. And what happens when Scott opens his big mouth? He gets proven wrong left and right all the time. And Jesper Boquist had himself a really good game. And on Tuna's second goal, which came just about 3 minutes later at 6:04 of the second, Jesper Boquist really made this happen. He created a turnover as the Wild are trying to come out of their defensive zone. Boquist goes in there, forces the turnover, gets the possession of the puck, and then he just doesn't get rid of it. No, he skates it in, kind of goes across the crease, into the corner a little bit, works his way around, and then he's able to find Damon Severson at the point, who lets the big blast go, and it deflects off of Tomas Tatar in front of the nets for his second of the game. That's Tatar at 6:04 of the second, his 12th of the season. Secondary scoring coming from Severson, his 13th, and Boquist, his 4th assist of the season. Isn't that right, Winston? And Winston just came over to me. He's like, stop giving Jesper Boquist crap, Dad. You don't need to be giving him crap. He had a good game today. Yes, he did, buddy. He did have a good game today. So there you go. Devils up now 2-1. And Scotty's starting to think, his score prediction's looking pretty good. I had a 4-2 Devils victory in Game Day Live. Vitek Vanacek then came back and made a hell of a save on a Wild 2-on-1. Big ups to the big boy Kevin Ball, who played that 2-on-1 perfectly. He used his reach. He used his size to his advantage. He went down and completely took the pass away, which just left Vanacek with a 1-on-1 with the shooter. Big save by Vitek Vanacek right there. And literally that was maybe about 30-40 seconds after the Devils scored. And you know this team sometimes has that MO to give up that return goal from the opposition just after they score. So Vitek coming through on that one. Right there at the end is when Siegenthaler again took another penalty, and it was a weak cross-check. I mean, come on, refs. Really? Seriously? Dumba is lining up Palat for a hip check. Palat does his best to avoid him. He really didn't get nailed as bad as he could have, And Siegenthaler goes over there and it's just, oh, hey, buddy, I'm here too. Kind of just, he gives him a little shot. I mean, it wasn't a big, blah. It was just a quick little tap. Really. And Dumba grabbed him by the collar. Siegenthaler pushed him away. And the refs gave him a cross-check. Now, I know, technically, yeah, okay. But, man, if you're going to cross-check someone, that was weak. That was weak. Okay? Like that was just a bad penalty in my estimation. Didn't really need to be called. It's kind of weak. Much like Carl said with Bootberg. Kind of weak. So Siegs goes back in the box at the end of the second period, much like the first period. However, Igor Sharangovich and Nico Hischier, who make a hell of a penalty-killing combination right there. They did have a 2-on-1, but Gustafsson, big glove save. Igor Sharangovich decides to shoot instead of pass. I thought that was going to be goal number 100 for our captain on his career. Not on the season, by the way, for his career. Igor decides to shoot, and Gustafsson comes up huge with the glove save. We're moving into the third period right now, and the Minnesota Wild, I got to say, they had a good third period. They really did, especially the first 5 minutes of it. And at 5:25 of that third period, Hartman gets some revenge after the weak instigator call against him. He serves his misconduct. He comes back for the third, and ouch. Okay, this one, man, it must have hit his funny bone. I was squirming on the couch because it just looked like, that back of the elbow where you're just like, you don't want to get hit at all. Dumba lets like a headhunter slap shot blast go from the point. I mean, this thing is just going up and up and away like friggin' Superman over here. It's going up and up, and Hartman kind of turns, and dude, it nails him right, and you just see him go like, that nerve must have like shattered for about like 3 or 4 minutes on the old funny bone. It did not look good. I thought he was actually really hurt, but probably just the stinger funny bone action going down. But hits Hartman in the elbow, and instead of going up, puck drops down and trickles right past Vanacek to tie it up 2-2. Hartman gets his sixth at 5:25 of the third, and then really the Wild had some really good chances. The Devils had a few as well. The goaltenders were just kind of trading big saves back and forth. Vanacek made a huge one on Kaprizov. And then right after, literally like the next trip right down the ice for the Devils on the same shift, Gustafsson robs Yegor Sharangovich again. It was a beautiful little tic-tac-toe pass into like a triangle. I believe it was Bratt who was down on the left-hand side, back up to Haula, who then feeds Yegor, who got behind the defense. And man, Gustafsson was just on fire. I felt like Walter Matthau. I was looking up grumpier old men lines, and grumpy old men's like, Gustafsson! Ah! Damn you, Gustafsson! But Yegor Sharangovich really, really need to get him on the score sheet goal-wise. Like we haven't seen it in a while. He's been kind of just stuck there, I feel like, for a long time. And he's been so streaky. We need to see some consistency from Yegor Sharangovich. He's got the good two-way play. He's a hell of a penalty killer as well. But with Jack down, really need him to step up with that secondary scoring. And he had a couple of good opportunities today. But again, Gustafsson comes up huge. We go into OT, and the first 3 minutes were really nothing. It was just a lot of possession and move into the zone. We're going to take it back out of the zone. Let's move into the zone. Let's take it back out of the zone. Move it back out. And then all of a sudden, the last 2 minutes of overtime was just shot after shot after shot after shot after shot. And again, Yegor Sharangovich had a breakaway robbed by friggin' Gustafsson. 3 great opportunities for Yegor today, and he was unable to come up with any of them putting him home, any goals today, which is really a downer because, man, it would have been a beaut if he got that breakaway in OT. But no, it did not happen. We go into the shootout. Zuccarello gets Vanacek. He kind of fakes him out and then gives him like a little change up. You see Vitek kind of like start to close the 5-hole and then like, gonna open it back. Crap. Zuccarello went right through it. So Brad had a nice move. I can't even remember who the first shooter was for the Devils on the shootout. Oh, it was Tatar. It was Tuna. And he did not get it home there. Kaprizov got stopped by Vanacek. Jesper Bratt, I thought he had he had him down, and he was doing some Jesper Bratt moves, and he went to the side, and Gustafsson just somehow kicked his leg and skate out to the post, and Jesper Bratt did not get the puck high enough. Another save over there. Gaudreau ends up putting it past Vanacek with a quick snapshot. 0-2 in the shootout right there. That wraps it up. Minnesota Wild take it 3-2. Devils pick up a point today. Would have been nice to have 2, but still, they don't come out of Minnesota empty-handed. Your 3 stars, Zuccarello is your first. Tomas Tatar is your second. Gustafsson, no surprise, is your third. He probably should have been the first star, but whatever. Shots on goal for the Devs, 8-9-9-3 for a total of 29. Minnesota 7-8-7-2 for a total of 24. Face-off percentages was pretty even. Devils had the advantage 53% to 47. The Wild were 1 for 3 on the power play. The Devils were 0 for 2. Devils out-hit by the Wild 32-20, but still like to see those double digits up there in the 20s for the hits for the Devils. 22 block shots for the Devils. Love seeing that. Only 4 giveaways. Also love seeing that. So it wasn't a horrible game, but it wasn't also the best game. That first period was really rough. The second period, when Lindy did his usual line shuffle, really seemed to spark the team a little bit. But then Minnesota just looked so charged up when they scored in the third. I mean, they looked like they were like scoring like in the Stanley Cup Finals. Like the bench was just going crazy. Like it's like, wow, is this a regular season game or is this a playoff game? But for Minnesota, they're hanging on to that very last wild card position over there out west. So for them, it kind of is a playoff game. Whereas the Devils are, they're in second place with a nice comfortable lead in overall. I don't think right now we're anywhere. Actually, I got to see where's Washington and let's see. Washington's got 62 points. We're up by 11 there. Pittsburgh at 61 in the wild card. So we got a nice comfortable spot there, in the East. So I don't know. Minnesota just seemed a little bit more hungrier. They just seemed like they wanted it a tiny bit more. So they get the shootout victory, 3-2. Devils get a point, and like we said, we are now 3 behind the Carolina Hurricanes, both with 52 games played, both with 34 regulation wins. We are 3 up on the Rangers, who have played 53 games and only 31 regulation wins for the Rangers, but they definitely took care of the Carolina Hurricanes earlier today. Love to hear what you think about it on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, Twitter Live, Twitch. Whoa, Sam Woo's got a new angle over here. He is zoomed in.
Yeah, Mrs. Wu was critiquing some of the production that goes on here behind the scenes, and she's like, you can't look so relaxed back there. You got to look like face to face with the audience. Like
you're actually listening to what I'm saying and paying attention, that sort of thing. Like when you tell me you listen to my radio show and you don't even know what time it's on or anything like that. Yeah, kind of like that.
It's 3 p.m. It's 3 p.m. Eastern every Thursdays.
3 p.m. Eastern. 3 p.m. Pacific. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what time it is for me out here on the West Coast. But Nico Hischier doesn't get his 100th career goal. We'll have to wait until maybe it'll be a nice Valentine's Day surprise for everyone. When the Devils, who are they playing? Columbus, right? That's the next game, I believe, right? Yeah, Columbus on Tuesday, 7:30 start time. We'll have to wait and see if the captain gets there. And we'll see if Igor Sharangovich can get off the snide. It was good seeing Tuna. Thought we were going to get that Hattie. Tuna Hattie, harpoons. And then you get like the tuna and the harpoon. That kind of like works together as well, It would have been nice. Sam Wu loves harpooning things, and we're going to check in with him right now. The king of the football calls himself from the frozen tundra of New Jersey, Sam Wu. What say you about this game, my friend?
I couldn't agree with you more in your recap that first period, you're kind of like, meh. It's another game. Tatar, 2 goals. Tatar, when he's on fire, I mean, man, can he skate? He's tough. Also the Bastion tussle there. I liked some of the beefalytics.
Yeah.
Because we're thinking playoffs right now. Kevin Ball, there was one sequence that he was just gassed. Like, he was gassed. Kind of reminds me of, like, beer league hockey where you had a 5-minute shift and you're just barely trying to survive. And he kind of looked like that. I think Kevin Ball, for now, I mean, he's better served if he just lay down in the NFZ and just use his body that way. Just lay down on the ice, and he can be more effective at times. But honestly, that Damon Severson pass to Sharangovich in overtime, I mean, I can't tell you how happy I am that I've been praising Damon Severson in the last, 6 weeks
That's your best friend.
After like the benching. I mean, I even said because I get criticized on Twitter quite a bit, and the people always say, "Well, 3 weeks ago you said this," but it's all in context. When Damon Severson got benched, and I said it's over.
Context, baby, context.
Yeah, it's over. I said it was over, but got to give him credit. So when I said it was over, I'm done with Damon Severson. His career with the Devils, trade him. He sits out 2 games, watches from the press box, and ever since then, no one's perfect, but man, has he it's almost like he's starting to live up to his potential. I mean, I feel secure when Damon Severson's out on the ice than Dougie Hamilton in some of these situations. Dougie Hamilton can score, but sometimes he can be a liability on defense. Mm-hmm. Not so much like Damon Severson and butt puck and all these freak accidents that used to happen in previous years, but Damon Severson, I've seen the rumors about trading him. Yes, I think his stock is very high right now for expensive rental for another team, but he's an expensive rental for the New Jersey Devils if you keep him without giving up any assets on trade deadline. I say you keep Damon Severson down the stretch, and if you lose him in free agency, well, at least you didn't lose any assets like you're about to lose for Timo Meier if you are able to make that trade.
Okay. Well, I mean, and
from a
much like we talked about
defense standpoint.
Well, yeah, and much like we talked about on Game Day Live, it didn't take long for John Marino to really reclaim his position on the second pairing with the gravy train. And Damon playing down there on that third pairing, I mean, that's really going to benefit him because he can make some moves and be a little bit more, like have some more freedom to get some more offensive side, to his game. And he's not going to be playing against the top lines of the other teams. So it's really going to up his stock and make him look a little bit better. I hope that his stock rises. Yeah. I'm of one that, maybe he might be part of a, maybe like a 3-way, team trade or something like that. But Damon has been playing well. I mean, I don't think we can really knock him, recently. He did, I think it was was it the second goal? Yeah, it was the second goal. I mean, that was his blast from the point that went off Tatar.
And he's more, and his decision making is more decisive now. He's not hesitating anymore. And that second goal by when Severson took that shot. I mean, if you go back to the replay, it was like I'm just going to be like a cannon on that point, and just I don't care what happens, and boom, it's in the net. All thanks to Tatar. I'm reading some of these comments, and I got to call out Cornhole. I've been biting my tongue for the last couple weeks about this whole Timo Meier thing. He writes, without Timo, this team is a joke. Are you kidding me? The team is second place in the Metropolitan Division without Timo Meier.
Yeah.
How is it a joke? You could have said that last year, but come on. You got to give the Devils a lot of credit here. They are second place in the Metropolitan Division. The only reason why they are not in first place is because the shootout, which I think is a gimmick to begin with, a skills competition gimmick, that 3 points, if you look in the standings, Scotty, that's what the Carolina Hurricanes have. More shootout wins. That's it. That separates between an elite team like the Carolina Hurricanes and the New Jersey Devils. And the Carolina Hurricanes were expected to be in first place. The Devils have overachieved at this juncture of their rebuild, which now I'm calling it where they're at within the franchise right now. And the we are joke, you know what? You're trolling us, cornhole. Come up with something new, all right? Because it's getting old. Sorry, I don't mean
That's
to.
okay.
I don't want to disparage anybody, but you can't say this team's a joke. This team is for real. I mean, we annexed Canada practically. We annexed California. You know, we could have taken the entire Pacific, except for, you know, they ran out of gas against Seattle that one game.
Well, we got revenge in the last game, too, and we went back and beat them.
Yeah.
You know, there's only one team in the league with more regulation wins than the Devils, and that is the Boston Bruins. Yeah. The Hurricanes, the Devils, the Maple Leafs all have 34. Or not the Maple Leafs, the Lightning. All have 34 regulation wins. So that should tell you all you need to know right now, that this team is not a joke at all.
Yeah.
They need to kick up the secondary scoring is what they need to do. And every team goes through ups and downs over the season. We didn't think it would actually happen, but even the friggin' Boston Bruins lost 3 in a row about 2 weeks ago. It can happen. The Devils just can't fall into another, month of December like that. The last time I looked, they just, what are they, 2-0-1 in their last 3 since the All-Star break? So, I'm not sure
without Timo Meier, they're actually 10-1-2 in the last 13. And, again, it's like, that December is the only thing that separates the Devils and the Boston Bruins. And you're talking about the big bad Boston Bruins that's running for the President's Trophy. And one can make the argument, what if they go on a slump, the Boston Bruins, and the Devils keep on winning? Only 10 points separate. That's 5 games. 5 games, 2 solid points between the Boston Bruins and the Devils. And again, those 2 games in December where they lost outright to the Boston Bruins, those 4 points, if you eliminate that, say if those games didn't exist, they would be just 6 points behind the Bruins. They're not that far, but the Bruins... I'm not even concerned with that, Samu, because this team was supposed to be a team that is fighting for a wild card. And we just said they're 11 points up on the wild card teams, the Washington Capitals and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Yep.
So this team a joke? Nah, I'm sorry. I can't buy that. And Jack Hughes is going to be back real soon. He's not going to be out for like 2 or 3 months here. He wouldn't be traveling with the team otherwise.
If it
he
was
would have been
playoffs,
back in New Jersey, he would. If this was the playoffs, Jack Hughes would be playing.
Yep,
Jack Hughes would be playing if this was the playoffs.
And you know what?
100%.
And he wasn't on a beach in Mexico during All-Star. He was overworked during All-Star. And then you add in the Brady Tkachuk thing. Didn't help either.
Horse collar tackle,
Yeah.
So, I'm not – anyone who thinks that, I don't know. I'm sorry. No offense, but I can't take those things seriously. This team is taken seriously because they are serious contenders right now.
Yeah.
Would it be nice to have another addition to this team? Yeah, sure. Why not? But – we've talked about it many times, and Samuel, you just said it about 2 minutes ago. This team is overachieving. They are ahead of schedule. They shouldn't be as good as they are right now. They should probably be more in the 60-point range, battling with the Islanders and the Penguins for that last wild card position. And they are light years ahead of them right now. That's light years ahead of Ovechkin, and Oshie, and Crosby, and Malkin, and Letang, and Bo and Barzell. Devils are doing real good. They got themselves some quality goaltending. You got two real, I don't want to say studs just yet, but man, because I'm not 100% sold on Mackenzie Blackwood. But I believe our boy Dave Singer said it yesterday. Don't trade away some of your strengths like that. And let me tell you, our goaltending has been a strength this season. That's really kept this team in games at times when they haven't played well, when they have shown some of their youth. And don't forget, more than half the season they played without Palat. And now Palat's back. Marino missed a whole bunch of time as well. Now Marino's back. They're both starting to get into the swing of things.
And Graves, remember when Graves went down as well?
Graves went down for a little bit as well. So now you're going to get Marino back playing on that second line, on that second pairing, which we said you can now move Damon Severson down to a third pairing, and he is above a third pairing defenseman. He's better than a third pairing defenseman. What's going to happen? He's going to overachieve down there in that third pairing, which we've been seeing. This is all good stuff for the Devils. This is all really, really good stuff for the Devils. So, I can't really go with this team as a joke. That's just, I don't know. That's making a trade just for the sake of making a trade is not the reason to do it.
I'm telling you, I was thinking of an analogy here. By the way, I just want to acknowledge Bill Agnew. You are funny as heck. Shane Van Sickle asked, has anybody seen Andrew Burnett behind the bench? And Bill Agnew says, Burnett is at American Whiskey. Very nice. Nicely played. Nicely played. You know what? Maybe on February 25th, I got to figure out how to do this. Maybe we'll have a golf cart, outside of American Whiskey.
Well, so in Selecta, the Islanders are playing. The Penguins are playing. The Rangers are playing. The Carolina Hurricanes are playing. So they're all in action right now. They're all. Let me. I just want to take a look. Let me take a look here. Let me get to the standings here. Okay. So Carolina, 52 games. The Devils, 52 games. The Rangers, 53 games. The Capitals, 54 games played. The Penguins, 51. The Islanders, 56. Florida, 55. So a good portion of these teams have actually played more games than the Devils right now.
Yeah. Yep.
So just keep that in mind, guys. Just don't forget.
So
that we're playing above where we should be right now, and that should tell you how much talent is actually on this team. Hell's bells. We've been talking about these friggin' prospects for how many years, Sam Wu? How many years have we been like, just wait for him to develop? What are our famous two words, Sam Wu? What are the famous two words from the owner of the Devils?
Be patient.
Be patient. And we were. Sort of. We complained a lot. Let's face it. And we called the team out on a lot of the BS and everything like that. But right now, this team is playing great. I call myself out. I said Lindy Ruff should have been fired last New Year's. I was obviously wrong. Because he's pushing all the right buttons on this team. They're playing better than they should be. Fitzy has made some great moves without sacrificing all of the depth that we have down there in the AHL and the rest of the minor leagues. Think about that. Marino for Ty Smith. Where's Ty? He got sent back down. That's a great move right there. You want to argue about Holla and stuff with his performance? He hasn't had the goals? All right, fine. But he hasn't been a liability on the defensive side. A certain guy named Jack Hughes really, really enjoys playing with him. He wins faceoffs like none other. So I take this team very seriously. And I'm happy as hell as a Devils fan who was spoiled. Let's face it. I was spoiled. We all were spoiled for a long, long time. Every year I used to say, I'm prepared. I'm a Mets fan. I would always say, well, that's okay because I have the Devils. I know I'm going to get a playoff. I know I'm going to get a postseason because I have the Devils.
Yeah.
And then for the last 10 years, it hasn't been that way. But now, all the guys that we've talked about, developing and coming up, we're seeing them all. And, they're ahead of schedule. And I'm telling you, Jack Hughes is probably going to be back by the last game of this road trip. And then, boom, there's your superstar once again.
Yep. Scotty,
Jesper Bratt is going to snap out of this. Nico Hischier is going to snap out of his drought,
Scotty, I'm going to make an analogy. And see if you follow.
Okay.
See if you follow. Because
Does it involve harpooning?
Kind of.
Okay. All right. I'm all for the harpooning.
I want to go back to cornhole and Timo Meyer. I get why you want that kind of scoring. I get it. But you just mentioned, Scotty, about 10 years of suffering with the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah.
And I've said this on the Woo Report. And I'm going to make an analogy, and a financial analogy, since the Devils are owned by a hedge fund, essentially. So, you spent 10 years to build up these assets, right?
Yep.
So say if, back in, 1997, Scotty, what were you doing? Were you had a job somewhere?
I think I was working at the old 17. Yeah, I think I was at the old A&P. When there were still A&Ps in Middlesex, New Jersey.
Okay.
Over there on Route 28. Yep.
And you work your butt off, right? It was a lot of suffering.
Sort of. Kind
yeah.
of, yeah. I was stealing packs of cigarettes and just smoking them in the back, basically.
Okay, all right. Let's not
in the produce room.
Let's not. I'm trying to make an analogy so cornhole can understand. So you built up, probably, hopefully, you had some money, right? But not a lot of money. But you had some money, right? Why make a minimum wage?
Oh yeah.
So say if you had $1,000 saved up working at A&P in 1997, right?
Uh-huh.
So think of the Devils. After all that, 10 years, you've got about $1,000 worth of assets, just kind of like 1997. And you took that $1,000 in 1997 and you invested in Apple stock, the Devils invested in Jack Hughes, right? That's the future. So you've got Apple stock. Right now, if you invested $1,000 in Apple stock in 1997, that'll be worth $1.1 million. But if you want to be like Cornhole and take your $1,000 and invest, $600 in Timo Meyer, that would never grow to $1.1 million. The point I'm trying to make is that pipeline of assets, of draft picks that the Devils would have to fork over, is what builds the entire organization from the bottom up. Because eventually Dawson Mercer is going to command probably about $6-8 million a year at some point in his career once he gets to that contract stage. He may have to go 6 years from now. But if you don't have that pipeline where you're developing players like the 2023 draft, the 2024 draft, the 25 draft, when Dawson Mercer may have to gets a better contract somewhere else, and you can't build a perennial Stanley Cup contender. That's why we suffered for that 10 years, because they completely ripped it down. So I don't know if my analogy even made sense, but you got to stay the course, because it's so easy back in 1997. If that were me, if I had $1,000 in 1997, I was a senior in high school, I probably would have blown $600 on it on CDs. You know what I mean? So instead of blowing it on Timo Meyer,
non-skip Discman.
Yeah.
Put the tape thing into your car,
Yeah, 10-second buffer where you're like this. Hey, it's not skipping. Then you get the 10-second mark, then it skips. Oh, yeah. And then you remember that? Oh, hey, I used to work at Radio Shack, so I knew all the products back then, you know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Radio Shack.
Well, I think, listen, getting someone like Timo would be nice, but not. You got to be smart about it. But this team is for real, 100%. To say that they're not is just I'm sorry.
Well,
I can't.
look, both goaltenders have been solid. Mackenzie Blackwood, he had his moments where he was a little shaky, but I think he got his game back. Vanacek, I thought Vanacek played very well. They were on the road tonight against a tough team, Minnesota Wild, Saturday night in Minnesota. That's a big deal up there, and
Vanacek is like 6th or 7th in the league in wins for goalies.
Yep.
So, this team is for real, and make no mistake about it. Does it hurt not having Jack Hughes? Of course. But
they're holding their own right now. He's a beast. They're holding
but they're going to hold their own.
Yeah.
They beat Vancouver. Jack got hurt. They beat Seattle. Okay, they lost in a shootout today. They lost the skills competition.
Actually, you know what? If Sharangovich buried one shot, we wouldn't even be talking like this.
We wouldn't. Yeah. 3 of them. It was really Gustafsson who saved the Wild today, because Igor had 3 golden opportunities, and Gustafsson came off huge on all of them, and Tatar even had a few other shots as well. Boquist had a strong game. This team is gonna be okay. This team is gonna be okay, and they're gonna go play Columbus. How far down is Columbus in the standings now? Where are they at? I don't even know. Oh, that's right. Dead last. So there you go. There's a nice game right there. Then who do we got after that? Then we have St. Louis, right? That should be a good, tough game. And St. Louis just traded away, not that Tarasenko has been, what's he got, like 11 goals on the season? He hasn't really been like lights out or anything like that. And then you got Pittsburgh before you come back home. And I would not be surprised to see Jack Hughes back in the lineup for that Pittsburgh game. That'll be almost 2 weeks. He got hurt on Monday the 6th. Pittsburgh game is on Saturday the 8th.
I think he's going to come back a lot quicker than that. They just wanted.
I wouldn't be surprised to see him back in the Columbus game, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Because he's going to have the, he wouldn't have been on he wouldn't have been on the trip if they didn't think that he was going to play one of these games.
I'm going to speculate what his upper body injury maybe had something to do with his shoulder, and they just wanted to make sure. Okay, let's not re-aggravate it. Yeah.
Don't take any. This isn't the playoffs yet.
Yeah.
We're not. We have a comfortable lead here. We're sitting pretty with 73 points. We're 3 behind the Carolina Hurricanes. We're first in the division. Okay, we all know that Boston is just light years ahead. But the Devils are sitting pretty right now. So no need to push Jack. If he got a little banged up, let him rest. Let him heal up. Let him come back 100%. If this was a playoff game, like we said, I bet you Jack Hughes would have been playing.
Yeah.
And if he was really seriously hurt, they would not have him traveling. He would be home, resting, rehabbing, would not be out there on the road with the team. So, would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he's in any of the 3 games coming up, but I bet you they might just be a little cautious with him. He is your superstar. Don't want to mess with anything. Bring him back for that Pittsburgh game next Saturday.
I mean, they're again, it's about managing your players. I mean, they're already talking about, Patrice Bergeron on the Bruins sitting out a couple games, because they're so headed in the standings, management, because at the end of the day, it's all about the playoffs. And once you get in, then it's about, getting home ice advantage. And then afterwards is, rest your players. Because the playoffs is a long, grueling, series of games. Each game is probably worth about 3 or 4 games.
Well, you definitely want Jack rested up, too, for the month of March. Because if you look at the month of March,
yeah, I'm looking at
we got
right
games against Toronto. I'm gonna discredit the Colorado and Vegas because those teams are out west, but those are 2 really good teams right there as well. But in our conference, we got games against Toronto. We got 1 against Toronto, 1 against Washington, 1 against Carolina, 3 against Tampa Bay, 1 against the Isles, and 1 against the Rags. Oh, and Florida as well, who is starting to play better. Their recent stretch, their last 10 games or so, they've played a lot better. But they're on the outside looking in, so they're going to be hungry come about 3-4 weeks from now. But March is going to be a huge month for this team. 3 friggin' games against the Tampa Bay Lightning. 2 at home in a row, back-to-back, on the 14th and on the 16th. And then they go down to Sunrise in Florida on the 18th. Hey, it's my birthday. And then they play the 19th in the old Thunderdome or whatever the hell it's called there in Tampa Bay. So back-to-back Florida trip there. You need a healthy Jack Hughes for that. So rest him now while you're playing Minnesota, while you're playing Columbus. St. Louis is, they're a tougher team, but don't need anyone throwing any of the huge checks onto Jack. Bring him back for that Pittsburgh game. Another divisional opponent. And the Devils are going to be okay. The Devils are going to be okay. They're going to beat Columbus. Wouldn't be surprised to see them beat St. Louis. And then, boom, you get Jack back. And once he's back, this team is, woo, baby, not to be messed with. And who knows? Maybe there might be a Timo Meier. Maybe there might be a Dylan Larkin added to this team by the deadline time. Either of those players would be a hell of an acquisition for this team. But make no mistake about it, Timo Meier it's going to be a difficult trade because Greer is going to ask for the world. And we've already heard from Fitzy that he doesn't want to pay a forward more than Jack. And Timo Meier's his arbitration is going to be like $10 million next year, which is going to be more than Jack. So there are some complications to it. You're also going to have to send some players over there to San Jose to offset some of that money.
And also, you don't want to ruin...
it's not just let's go get it done. I guarantee you, Greer is going to ask for the world for Timo Meier, as he should, because he's trying to rebuild a winner over there. And he's looking at the Devils' prospects, and he's like, ooh, now there's a farm system I'd like to dip my hands into.
Well, Scotty, and no one's ever talked about it, and here's the reality. Timo Meier is a great player. Say if you make the trade, you don't want to disrupt team chemistry that what the Devils have right now. I'm telling you, you can't buy team chemistry. It's either you have it or you don't. And right now, these players are playing for each other. These players are playing hard. You don't hear anything, any situation in the locker room. That locker room cancer. No, these are good group that are playing for each other right now. And when you have that team bond in that locker room, nothing is better than that having that bond with your teammates. And and sometimes when you bring in a superstar like Timo Meier in the mix, it could alter the chemistry. It may take
It could.
a while for the chemistry
never
to
know.
develop. You never know. And the Selected Boy says, yeah, exactly, Sam. Team chemistry doesn't happen overnight with one player. Look, when Dougie Hamilton, Tatar, last year when they came to the Devils, it took a while for them till this year to really prove themselves. Like, it takes time.
Yeah.
So it's not instant offense. What he was doing in San Jose was with San Jose. It may not translate well in New Jersey.
For the first season. A lot of times you see that.
Yeah.
Where players don't play, exactly the same until they get used to the system, until they get used to their new line mates and everything like that, to the new systems. We know Lindy's system is a little bit the home run pass, the Hail Mary and stuff like that. It's going to take a little bit. So, listen, we all know that, with the Swiss connection over there, hopefully it would be good. And yeah, it'd be awesome to have another sniper on this team, but don't sacrifice everything. Don't just make a trade to make a trade. I'm trusting in Fitzy. He has stayed the course. He made the right move, not getting rid of Lindy. He made the right move, getting rid of Ty Smith. I think he made the right move, letting Pavel Zacha walk. I think he made a right move in bringing in Tuna. Even though I know I've criticized Tomas Tatar's play at points, we talked about it. He has a total big brother vibe on this team with everybody. Bringing in Palat was a great move. Some people will say that Fitzy overpaid for him. I think the leadership that Palat brings to this team and the toughness and the grit speaks for itself.
Yeah, Bill Agnew made a great point. The Hughes family was mad because Beer Baron ignored them at. I got
nicely done, Bill.
Mrs. Wu,
nicely done there, Bill.
Mrs. Wu, screenshot that comment. I'll send it to Beer Baron in the group text. Wow, that was good.
Very nicely done, Bill. Very nicely done.
Well played. Well played.
Man. But, I mean, and even think about it, too. How many of us, myself included, how many of us wrote off Mackenzie Blackwood?
Yeah.
I put my hand up. I did. And look at the way he's played this year. And what was it, like 11 days or so since that Seattle game that he got back in there? You see a lot of goalies rusty when they take that much time off.
Plus, he helps Vanacek.
Blackwood saved that game.
It helps Vanacek quite a bit because when Vanacek is well rested, he's lights out this year. When he has like 3 days off or 4 days off, then that next game, he's not rusty. He's so sharp. He's got so much energy, but playing Vanacek back-to-back, not so much. Like most goaltenders, but not so much.
It came to an end tonight, via a shootout, but Vanacek also had 11 wins in a row.
Yep.
From his starts. So, chemistry, it all coming together is a good thing. Would it be fun to add another sniper? Of course. But to say this team is quote-unquote a joke? No, I'm sorry. I can't.
I will say Cornhole, though. They were trying to build team chemistry without tampering out in Mexico with all the rumors that Timo Meyer and
they went out of country to do it.
Yeah, went out of country to do it. Or maybe that's why Nico Hischier is kind of tanking to tell Fitzy, hey, you got to get my boy Timo here because we don't have any secondary scoring. Just jokes.
But we're glad that you're excited, Cornhole, to get Timo. But I just can't go with the. I understand maybe you're just upset over the shootout loss, but keep it in perspective. This team is above where they should be right now, and that's a good thing. Because just imagine when they get to Sam Wu's prediction of 2025. We're only in 2023.
That's right.
So just keep that in mind. And you still got Luke is on his way. Simone is on his way. You got a whole bunch of guys that are coming up.
Some of these comments are just funny. But, Bill, thank you. Thank you about the guests on the Wednesday night podcast, State of the Fan Address, with Nick Villano and I. Just remember, folks, American Whiskey, February 25th. Now I need to get it. Scotty, now I need to find a golf cart to put in front of American Whiskey.
Cornhole is he's taking over negotiations now with Mike Ray.
Give everybody but Jack Hughes for Timo Meyer.
Oh man. Either oh man.
Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your enthusiasm for Timo Meyer, Cornhole, but just remember that this team is for real even without him.
Yeah.
They are where they are without Timo Meyer right now.
Codex,
just remember that.
Codex 100. Was Jack's injury golf cart related? Yeah, maybe the Devils with their theme nights, maybe they should have free giveaways at breathalyzers or something like that.
Oh boy. Well, everyone should be happy where this team is right now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I mean,
because they're ahead of schedule.
I don't consider shootout losses. I really don't. I don't even consider shootout.
No moral victories, Sam Wu. Come on, no moral victories.
I just don't think it's a loss because it doesn't what that determines a game, a skills competition where the shooter, goes at like a snail's pace at 2 miles an hour, and the goalie, it just doesn't look natural to me. It's just it is what it is.
And Bill, you are right. Luke and Michigan are on fire. I don't know if anyone has the. I know on my Sling TV over here, I get the that Big Ten channel, so I get to see some of those Michigan games. They're a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun to check out.
Yeah. Hey, Scotty, it's past midnight here.
No, yeah, we've been going for a while now.
Yeah.
We said we were going to keep this one short, and we ended up going for like a
you told me, it's like,
over here.
Yeah, you were like, oh, we'll do it 20 minutes or less. Oh, okay. No, I'm just kidding. Want to thank all those.
Exactly, Felix. We got a point tonight. You can't win them all. We still got the point. So, let's just focus on that. Let's move on to Columbus, which is a very winnable game for Valentine's Day. We'll have a special romantic game day live and Devils After Dark edition.
We'll have candles.
We'll have little candles, little hearts. We're gonna open up those little heart candies that say like little messages and stuff like that. Sam Wu, will be your Valentine. Actually, no, Mrs. Wu has already claimed that, so we can't do that. But Sam Wu will have some candies that we can open up, and we'll see. Maybe we'll send some messages to the team or something like that. We'll take some pictures of the candies and send them to all the team.
Yeah. Well,
and hopefully there'll be a football call.
February 25th, American Whiskey. It's going to be a big event, Scotty.
Huge.
There's going to be posters all over Newark about our event, our 500,000 party. And,
Sam's going Ramon style.
Yep.
Post no bills, and there's gonna be a shot of Sam Wu there stapling up flyers all over, So he's gonna go Ramon CBGB style with the posters all across Newark. So if you're in the area, come on down. Even if you don't have tickets to the game, It'll be on the big screens over there at American Whiskey. We'll have a nice big watch party and everything like that. The 25th, it's on a weekend. Can't get any better than that. And it's a big thank you to you out there for all the downloads, all the supports, all the likes, all the follows, all the subscribes, all the super chats, all the comments that you guys throw up on Facebook Live and Twitter Live, Twitch, and, of course, YouTube. Thank you so much for all the feedback and all the support. We couldn't do this show without you. Really couldn't. It wouldn't be the same without your feedback and your responses and participation.
Also, happy belated birthday to a good friend of the podcast, Matt Lachlan.
Yay, Matty.
Yeah. So, all right. Dropping the podcast in about 20 minutes. Till next time, let's go Devils.